Okay, we should be live. And this was a very short notice stream. I had 49 minutes to prepare. So you guys are like, get ready for some high production quality stuff here today. um, we have everybody on, like, oops, that shouldn't be there. This is the production values I'm talking about. Okay. Hello, I'm Paul. We are the Stormkeep. And I'm joined by
Hey guys, it's Morgan.
Sweet. Okay, we got the intros out of the way. It's like a checklist that I have here of things we got to do. And at the end, we got to talk about the Discord server, got to talk about the painting contest, sponsor shout out, all that stuff. We're going to do it. But today, the stream is very focused. We are only going to be talking about the Scourge of Ghyran, which is basically Age of Sigmar Season 2. Right? That's the whole thing. Scourge of Ghyran in particular is the lead-up event to the next season starting. If you're new to Age of Sigmar, if this is your first edition playing the game, and you're like, oh, what's the GHB? What's this acronym? What does this all mean? Basically, there's seasonal rules in Age of Sigmar, and each year in the summertime, Games Workshop releases an update to the game that adds new battle plans, it adds new seasonal rules. Like, sometimes they're crazy. Like, at the end of the last edition, we got this spell called Blizzard, which did 4d6 mortal wounds to stuff. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I loved that magic system. That was really, really awesome. This season, start of 4th edition, we had the Honor Guard stuff, which was honestly pretty cool. I like that it was customizing units. I like that it was happening during the game. Then they tried to expand it into this, like, who has more regiments gets more of these rules, and that just didn't feel great. Like, the rules were good, but, like,
I
I'd
think
rather
more
just
than
have it
that is the
guaranteed.
missions. I think it was the
Yeah.
missions. I think this was basically repeating all the old classic hits for all the missions from previous years. And it wasn't necessarily designed with 4.0 in mind. They just copy pasted 3.0 missions.
Yeah, they were straight up 3.0 missions. Some of them were great in 3rd edition. Like, I really liked Jaws of Gallet and Prize of Gallet. I thought those were two of the best. And then after the underdog change in this edition, I was like, oh, okay, I don't like this one anymore. Like, this is really just not a very fun one to play, and it's a race to the bottom. Constantly, people just burn objectives, So, well, yeah. So there's a new season. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No. It's like the problem is like porting those missions straight from 3.0 and 4.0 doesn't work. Like I was very when they first revealed those, I was like, okay, the objective size is way smaller. Does that just mean everyone just focuses on killing the other army now? And that's basically what happened.
Yeah, it turned out yes, we do just kill each other.
Yeah.
That's like we have all this control stuff, and objectives are smaller, so like every model on the objective matters more. It turns out we still just kill each other like it's 2nd edition. Like, well, it's not that fast. It's not 2nd edition fast, but it's pretty fast. Like, stuff still gets wiped out. You have to kind of concentrate more fire, but stuff dies. But maybe that's because we're Stormcast and we're really good at applying damage where we need to, when we need to. I think some other armies are more grindy. Like, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Maybe not.
I would say like Skaven can be fairly grindy. If they want to be.
If they focus fire, they're shooting, and then like they usually wipe stuff out in one turn. But in melee, they're a pretty grindy melee army. I'll say that. Yeah, Khorne is actually pretty grindy too. They're not like
Khorne is very
unless they get like the whole Blood Warrior combo off with like +5 attacks or whatever. They're really grindy. They're just trying to outgrind you. So, anywho, so there's a new season coming to Age of Sigmar, and everything we know about it, there's not much, but everything we know about it is that this event, Scourge of Ghyran, is leading up to it. And this is really, really cool because they haven't done anything like this before, adding new rules for every army. No, that's not right. Hold on. Let me fact check myself real time. Remember 1st edition? They had the General's Handbook release, and there was always an update to like Fire Slayers, Night Haunt, Seraphon, Free People's got an update. Like, there were straight up allegiance abilities in the General's Handbook. So I guess this isn't a new thing. This is like an expanded version of that, because instead of picking like 4 or 5 armies, they're just doing every army. Every army in the game is getting new rules, which is pretty cool. And the new season starts with the General's Handbook release, which is probably June 21st? 21st or 28th, something like that, right?
It'll be 1st week of July, more or less.
Maybe. We'll see. And this season...
usually an end of June pre-order, most of the time.
I think what's happening is we're getting 7 weeks... 5 weeks, because there's 24 armies in the game? 24 armies.
26 armies in the game.
Okay, so that's enough for 5 weeks of content. And so that means at the end of 5 weeks, it should go up for pre-order, and then 2 weeks after that, it'll release. So 8 weeks from when it started, which would be June 21st.
Okay.
That's my theory. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe more Space Marines need to get launched in that time, so it might delay things. So there's a new season starting. We have no idea if there's going to be any additional rules. As far as we know, this is it. But I hope there's more rules, because if this is the only stuff we're getting, it's kind of not enough. Like, this is actually less interesting than the Honor Guard rules, I think. Even though it does affect every army, and it's affecting every army in a specific way, Honor Guard was just cooler and more flexible and more interesting tactically from what we've seen so far, which is, 2 armies.
These aren't seasonal rules though. Like, these are faction specific seasonal rules. There are general season rules too.
See,
we haven't seen.
I hope there are. They haven't confirmed that there will be, so I hope that we will see something else. For sure, we're getting new battle plans, right? They're not. We haven't actually seen a 4th edition battle plan yet, so we'll see what those look like. Looks like there's going to be different colored objectives. There's like 2 red ones, 2 green ones, a blue one, and a purple one. So I'm sure that will be a lot easier. That'll be a lot easier than thinking, oh, these are flank objectives and these are home objectives. And it's like, no, just color code them, make it easier, right? I love that. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Battle plans, we'll see. There's nothing previewed for battle plans yet, so we have no idea how they're going to go. There are new faction rules for every army, and we're going to be talking about the Stormcast rules in this live stream. Now, these are only legal while you're playing with this version of the game. Like, this General's Handbook is the only time you're allowed to use the Scourge of Ghyran. So, that's kind of a downer, right? Because especially if you're excited about the new Iridan Warscroll, which I am, it looks great. You have to remember that in 1 year, it's gone. And Iridan goes back to being...
No. It has to be a playtest for more permanent change.
It is certainly possible that they leave that in the game and like, no, you know what? Just throw out the older Iridan Warscroll. Here's a new one.
Yeah.
And
it's just a battle scroll update next year before the next year's GHP.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder, why are they even making it temporary? Like, I don't think there's a single person out there that's going to be like, no, I want the old Iridan. Keep the old Iridan Warscroll in there. I'm going to miss it. Don't get rid of it, please.
I think it's an optics thing. It's like if their Stormcast book is only about 8 months old, 8 or 9 months old. If they invalidate their own product by saying this is the Warscroll now, everything is completely different about it. It's like it makes them look bad. Hey, we have this printed book with Iridan, our foremost centerpiece model that we released last year. This Warscroll is completely incorrect in this book. Nothing on it is the same. Yeah,
I suppose.
And they want to sell the books.
This is more of a change than like a typical errata. Like, we've seen Ionis get Ruination Chamber and the Resistance roll. Like, he just straight up got new abilities and keywords. That's not it. Yeah, I guess that's easier than like a total rewrite.
Yeah, this is a complete rewrite. Not even the profiles are changed, right? So it's like the book scroll is not even a good reference point for this new one.
Yeah, it's damage 3 now, like the regular Lore Terminus.
Yeah, and this one has a native 6-up ward.
Yeah, that's interesting. We don't have a lot of Stormcasts with 6-up wards. So that's, I mean, 5-up would have been nice. So you wouldn't have to use the Sentinels on them every single turn. But, take what you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing, I kind of wanted to have a short discussion with you, Morgunk, about this. This is the new season is a new opportunity for them to completely redo all the advanced rules. And stuff that we take for granted, kind of the transition from 3rd to 4th was very easy because stuff more or less works the same way. The stuff that really stood out was regiments and magic, and specifically manifestations, right? Those are kind of the 2 things that are really different compared to 3rd edition. Everything else more or less works the same. Commands are issued by units, you get a certain number of points, command models, like all this stuff in this section can all be thrown out. In fact, that was one of their big features of 4th edition, was the fact that these rules can just be thrown out and replaced at any time. Mm-hmm. And there's no, like, maybe we won't get every single one of these replaced, but I think we're going to see some big rule changes with this season that will fundamentally reshape how we build our armies, how we interact with endless spells, how we interact with terrain, and maybe how we use command models. I think the command model one is probably not changing much. But we know battle tactics are changing for sure. They're
Mhm.
completely rewritten.
Just
Which
off the
is
preview images, we can see they're more like 40k fixed objectives, where they're like quests that you undertake over the course of a battle, as opposed to
right.
something you have to do in the moment or lose the points regarding it.
Yeah, so
Um,
like a grand strategy from third edition. You pick it with your
Mhm.
list, and you're going to try to do this extra thing during your game, and that seems like it has potential to be interesting.
but it's also built in a very like incremental way. Like in 40k, for instance, if you're scoring, I don't know, behind enemy lines, you score that every turn, right? You're not just trying to score
Mm,
that once to complete it, just one and done. Grand
okay.
strategies had a very one and done feeling to it. You know, if you were Zinch, you just made sure you had 9 on your Destiny dice and you're good to
Yeah,
go.
you just can't stop it. There's nothing your opponent can do
Yeah,
there
or
afterward.
if your grand strategy was kill the enemy general, then you just kill them, and there's no you don't have to worry about the rest of the game about scoring that point. But
Mm,
I think this one is more like a quest where
yeah,
you're going to have to kill certain units that they've marked, and you have to mark your own units, that sort of thing.
I wonder if instead of having a secondary VP system, we can try having like a quest system that gives you buffs throughout the game, or like new abilities get unlocked. So like instead of
I
getting
think there
VP,
are.
it's like a tempo versus like card advantage kind of play. Like you might give up some
Yeah.
VPs early on, but then like by round 5 your dude's like jacked and you can just roll over the whole army, something like that.
I think there are, but not in the way you think. From what little I could make out reading the tiny script on the preview images, there's a lot of like buffs for marked units that are
Hmm.
part of the quest. And
Okay.
there are buffs to hitting marked units in your opponent's army that are also trying to do the quest.
Oh,
So it's like they either become more vulnerable, but they also become more powerful. It's like that sort of thing.
okay. That could be cool. Yeah. Cuz I kind of like battle tactics like because they're a secondary system, it's nice to have something to do besides just stand on circles. Because I do still remember very vividly second edition and how the stand on circle game really people figured that out quick, and it just like no, just
Mhm.
kill each other, right? Like we don't need to stand on these circles. What are we doing, wasting time? We'll just kill each other.
Yeah, it was up to 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 come up with interesting tertiary missions.
Yes, yeah. There were I went to a lot of events that had cool ones. Like people created their own secondary system, and there was a lot of cool ideas. One of them was like you have like a messenger, you have to get a hero, you pick the hero at the start of the game, and it has to get into the enemy territory, and then at the end of the turn, if it's alive and out of combat, you can take it off the board and you score like some VPs, and it's dead, but you get the VPs. So
Mhm.
that was kind of
Mhm.
cool. Very easy with Stormcast. Okay, so from these modules, I have a short list of things I would really like to see happen. Um, Mostly on terrain, magic, and army composition. I feel like these are the three that stick out as a problem to me. I don't have any issue with commands, except I think power through should only be usable by monsters and war machines. I don't
I
think
said
any
that before too.
Yeah, I don't think any other unit should be able to use it because after a year of cavalry power through, I'm kind of sick of power through. It's like committing a cavalry's so good already. Being able to just retreat at the end of combat and not get stuck in like 12 to 14 inches usually, that just seems too good for a cavalry unit to do. In addition to all the other stuff that cavalry is good at, being a high density health block, having good charge damage, they're just such a good unit type. Having power through really, I don't know. What do you think about that idea?
Um, it's weird. It's like when I think of the thing is like one of the reasons cavalry's yeah, you're right. It's already much better than infantry. I think of like my gut reaction is yes, they should be able to, but I think of like what would happen? Would people even take cavalry if they couldn't power through? Because with Vanguard it's different because they fight twice and they're 6 inches in and they delete everything. But with stuff like Vanguard Paladors, if you commit 480 points, like the points would have to go way down for cavalry to account for no more power through. Because if
Not,
you're committing 480 points of Vanguard Paladors in someone's face and they can't power through, you just sacrifice that unit.
I would like to. I don't know if they would need a point cut. I'd like to see it without power through and then sit because like Vanguard Palador Raptors are like the best cavalry in the game, right? They're up there
Sure,
with like Vanguard. So
sure.
that's a hard one. I think I'd be more looking at a unit like Dawn Riders who are like a charge in and commit unit, and if they can't power through, like they're just toast. They're done for the rest of the game. They're stuck in that combat forever until they die. Paladors can retreat and charge, so I think they'd be fine without it. it's nice. Power through is
Sure.
really nice for them, but it's not necessary for them. But I think monsters definitely need something to feel special. They currently don't. They just feel like bad cavalry, right? Like they just feel like a
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
unit type. And War
yeah.
Machine because all chariots are War Machines, so that makes sense. Like it might be weird for a cannon to power through after charging, but I don't know anybody who uses a cannon or ever gets it into. I've never seen a cannon charge. In all my years of playing this game, I have never seen an artillery unit charge, except for like salamanders, but they're not a cannon, like an actual cannon, right?
I mean, it doesn't matter. They only move 5, so why would you power through that? That's it's kind of dumb.
Oh god,
Like they
if a
move 4.
ballista moves 3 inches, you can't. If you're base to base in combat, you can't power through out of
You
combat.
can't power through. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's not even worth it.
Okay.
And yeah, but I would agree with like and the thing is like I want like the thing is like that's what chariots should be built around. Like I think every chariot in the game needs a rule that when this thing power throughs your army, it does something. So if Stormstrike chariots are going to be like the base model, that they're just going to do extra like 2d3 more wounds, right? Instead of the normal d3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like you can have a Slanesh chariot that says if I power through your unit, you're a -1 to wound for until my next turn.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a Chaos chariot, you're -1 to hit or you're -1 to save. I've now subtracted 1 from your save roll if
Yeah.
I power through you.
Yeah, that would be
You know,
cool.
that's what I want chariots to do because I mean historically they're like used to like I mean they weren't very good if you do the whole analysis, but they're used to like smash through enemy lines and like cause havoc. So some sort of debuff and like allowing people to build into chariots as with power through in mind to debuff your opponent. I think that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Maybe chariots like War Machines could finish in a different combat, so you could like, hit one unit and then finish combat with another unit. Just tie stuff down,
Mhm.
make them like a pinning unit kind of thing. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
Probably too
yeah,
strong.
and then
Like that's
monsters. I think monsters are just. I think monsters with power through is fine. It's like one of the things that would actually then make them stand out because it's like okay, you basically can't tie this thing in combat. It's got a huge bulk, and if it charges into you, it's probably gonna power through back.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope that change happens. The rest of the commands I think are fine. Quickly, what's your opinion on countercharge still costing 2 CP? Do you think that cost is
I think it's fine.
justified? Yeah, you don't think it should be reduced to
Yeah,
1?
no, I think it's like 2 CP is fine because in some armies it can be really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Namely stuff like Gargants and stuff. So I think it's okay to like because it is like it can be game breaking, right?
Can
Because
be,
it's like if you
absolutely.
plan for something, yeah. So I think 2 CP is fine. Most of the time, it ends up being like what I call bad movement cope. Like countercharge is something you use like unless you very deliberately set up a trap. It's only something like bad players do to get into even worse combats. Like it's not always a good idea to countercharge because you're putting 2 units in risk now instead of 1,
Mm-hmm.
and you might not like the result of what happens. Like if you pull in, let's say, an infantry unit into my cavalry unit that's just countercharged, or it just is charged. Well, you've given me a powerful target.
Yeah, I suppose the armies that don't really care that much about like the more melee focused armies really don't use their CP on like they don't have a shooting phase, so they don't need to worry about using CP there, right? So I guess the cost is fine there.
Yeah,
Maybe some armies should
it's also
have like
incredibly powerful because battle tactics, right? If I have 1 CP, just
yeah
like right now at least. I mean, it could change based on what the battle tactics are, but right now countercharge can absolutely mess people up if it's just 1 CP.
yeah I think I agree. It seems fine at 2. It feels odd that that's the only command that costs 2 or more than 1,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of odd. Um, okay, all right. So terrain. I think every single person in the world who plays Age of Sigmar can agree with the following statement: you shouldn't be able to charge faction terrain.
Yeah.
You can still fight it. You can walk into combat with it, but charging it has created some of the worst gameplay experiences of any edition of Age of Sigmar. Like this is the shenanigans that you could pull off by charging terrain is so stupid. It's like less fun than second edition when everybody was fighting first and fighting twice. I had more fun playing that edition than I do whenever like, oh, I need to guard my own terrain because this guy can teleport. And then like if you've played against Lumineth Riverblades, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the stuff people can do is disgusting. So get rid of that. Just nope. Because it's gotten to a point where people aren't bringing terrain. I haven't seen OBR terrain on the table in like 6 months.
This happened in my game against like a Stormcast player in at Brewski. They didn't set out their terrain because they were bringing like a one drop, like the Karazai one drop.
Yeah.
And they saw my units and they're like, I'm not set. I'm like, okay, I am. And ultimately, my terrain helped me win the game. But it's like, imagine being that player. And it was a 6 objective map too, so they couldn't do anything
Yeah.
because like they had to like I could teleport everywhere and they were just foot slogging it everywhere.
They would just give you an advantage by putting the terrain down. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
if it's gonna cost 0 points, it shouldn't be abusable like that. It shouldn't be a detriment to your army. So that's got to change.
Yeah.
And the other thing that has to change, I think obscuring just needs to block line of sight entirely. Right now, it just blocks units from being
from
picked.
Magic 2, you mean?
Magic, all abilities. Every single ability. Like in second edition, we had overgrown terrain, which if line of sight just passed over it, from nearest model to nearest model, if line of sight passed over it, couldn't see each other. There was no line of sight.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It worked very well. It was super clean. There was never any issue with it. There was never a situation where a unit could be inside terrain and be unshootable, but then shoot out of it. So I would like that, but I think that's less likely. I think they're happy with how the obscuring terrain has turned out, although I'm not personally.
I think so. I think they're happy too. I think also like what they've nerfed magic, so like magic is no longer 30 inches like it used to be. A lot of the magic used to be 24, 30. Now it's all 18 and 12. But like being able to stop that while being in the woods.
Being able to shoot out of woods just seems wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sylvaneth should be able to do that, and nobody else.
Yeah.
Okay, magic.
We'll
Endless spells are pretty complicated, huh? I hope they go back to just being things on the table and not pretending to be units. With faction terrain, they should just... You can walk into combat, you can fight them, but you can't charge them. Because
they should just have an effect. Like I don't think they should have like an attack profile. Like it's okay for them to have a health and a save value, like to act like a model.
Yep.
But they shouldn't have the combat or missile attacks like like a unit, like an actual unit. Because a lot of times these are like straight up better than actual units. Like the Horgas shoots better than like Vanguard Hunters, for instance. Like what is that? Why?
Another issue is that why are your spells taking priority in combat away from your army units?
Mm-hmm.
Like conceptually, your general is making the decision, no, fight with the spell before the unit. Like,
yeah,
they should just happen at the same time. Like, there shouldn't be a conflict there. It should be spells are just doing their thing because they're spells, and then the fighting is happening with the units. Keep them with health and damage and all that, so you can just kill them like a normal unit. But if you make that change, I think some people have suggested you can only summon a spell once. I think that, I don't know. That's a lot cheaper. Like, I think that could work, but I think spells are cool, and I want to see them on the table. And it's like, the less once per game stuff there is in the game, the better overall. Once per game stuff it's a pain to keep track of. You have to end up balancing it to be like really impactful when it comes out. You can never like, maybe some of them are once per game, but like not as a blanket rule. I don't think I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I would just start with just turning them into not units. I think that's what's causing problems because like I'm fine with the endless like purple sun, I guess, doing mortal wounds or reducing my save. I don't also want it attacking when you crit mortal attacks. Like, why did that need to happen?
Yeah, like the Jaws could just do more mortal wounds on the charge and then not have a combat profile.
Instead of rolling 8 dice or 10, just have it roll 14. But why is it also attacking like me like a cavalry unit? You know?
Yeah.
It's like a Stormstrike Palador, basically.
Yeah. Except it doesn't cost points or take up slots in the regiment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I'd make any other changes to Magic. I think the prayer system has turned out to be a success once they eroded the modified one situation on prayers. Once they got rid of that, I think it's all good now. I mean, I'd like to see Primal Casting come back because it was so cool, but maybe
let it go.
Maybe next season.
It's okay.
Maybe next season.
Yeah.
All right. Army composition. I think I'd like to see regiments changed up. I don't know how. I'm not smart enough to come up with how they could be changed up right now. But the current list building feels really restricted and really bad. Maybe all we need is like a special kind of regiment that requires a certain kind of unit and a certain kind of hero, and then it's like a warlord battalion, basically gives you another enhancement. Because I think that's one of the things that's really missing from the game right now, especially now that we're getting more enhancements to pick from. It would be really cool if we had the option to get more enhancements in a list. So I think I'd like to see that added to regiments.
They might do that. If we don't see seasonal rules like Honor Guard, they might just tell you to pick another enhancement.
I'd be okay with that because like one thing I really didn't like about Honor Guard was that it was tied to how like it was relative drops. It was if I have more than you. Like it doesn't matter how many I have. What matters is if I have more than you. So you can kind of make a call like if everyone's playing 2 drops, I can go 3, but then if you build a list around getting 2 Honor Guard abilities, you'll fight someone that has 3, 4, or 5 drops and then you just don't get your abilities. And that just feels wrong. Like it feels like okay, well I made a decision with my army and it's basically a dice roll to get that ability or not. So yeah, I don't like that aspect.
We'll see.
Of it.
I'm sure they'll do something with army combos. It's probably the number one sort of complaint people have about the game.
Yeah, when I read people's complaints online, a lot of it is that list building feels stale. Like it's not very exciting. So hopefully they shake that up. Okay, so let's talk about the Stormcast faction rules that we're getting. So I think we'll start with the heroic traits, then we can do some artifacts, and then we'll talk about the new Iridan Warscroll, and that'll be it for tonight.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to just talk about them in general, or go one at a time? I think one at a time would be interesting. That way we don't.
One at a time would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll start with Legendary Tenacity, the heroic trait. So always remember that every time you're looking at a heroic trait in Stormcast, it is being compared to Envoy of the Heavens, Staunch Defender, and Shock and Awe. Shock and Awe is pretty bad. Like it
Staunch Defender's ass.
Staunch Defender, it depends on where the objectives are located, right? So we'll see what that looks like. If like most battle plans have stuff in the middle, then maybe you do Staunch Defender because it could be, +6 control very easily on an objective. With Stormcast, that's a big amount. So I don't want to write it off entirely. It's not good. I'm not trying to say it's good, but it's not.
It's like maybe Scourge of Ghyran makes it more relevant with control scores, but it's up until now, the game is so lethal, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I agree with that take. Yeah,
because I'm assuming even if you buff, let's say a control score 10 unit, let's assume it gets reduced to 5 and then it gets +3. The cavalry unit that just killed you is probably still outnumbering you with 12. That's how the math goes in my head usually.
And it's usually just easier to body people off objectives than it is to, try to defend it and have more dudes on it, right? Because like especially with Stormcast, we're not durable enough to do that.
I don't think a lot of people are. Maybe 20 Blood Warriors are, I guess, but
I've seen stuff
that's
like
the only reason 20 Blood Warriors are is because like any melee unit trying to kill them will probably half die themselves just off the murder rolls.
There's some other units like 20 Bloodletters because they just like unless you overcommit into them, like reviving D3 models a turn can really add up for them. There's not many anvils in the game like that though. Yeah.
No.
All right. So Legendary Tenacity is if you played 3rd edition in 2022, I think 2022.
Yeah.
You would remember this ability called Fueled by Gurish Rage, which is this. It was this ability, but it was only usable on foot heroes. This ability is usable on every hero, which means Star Drakes can take it, which means when your opponent charges in a big unit of Chosen, and because Stormcast we're not that tough, but we're tough enough that we can usually survive one swing these days between Bodyguard and the Rampage eating some Chosen. We'll survive the first swing. We won't survive the second swing. But on a 3-up, we survive the second swing. It doesn't matter how much damage they do. We're just back. And then maybe we bring a Knight Vexilor, who then starts to heal us. It starts to add up. Right? So that's the one case everybody's already thinking about is reviving a Star Drake, because, of course, you see a revive a unit, you want to pick the biggest unit that you can find. The case that I usually am going to run this for is just my hero comes back to life. You tried to snipe out my important combat hero or combo hero, like with the Quicksilver draft, and it's just on a 3-up, it's back up. So it'll just discourage people from even trying to kill the Lord Celestant or the Lord Terminus or the Celestant on Dracoth. It's like, okay, well, if on a 3-up they just get back up anyway, like I'm not gonna bother, right?
Or overcommit into it.
Or overcommit, yeah.
So they can kill it with 2 activations.
And those lists usually don't care that much about Shock and Awe, and they usually don't care that much about Envoy because they're coming into play from reserve. There's no time to Envoy the unit that actually matters. Envoy is really, really hard to use. So I think this works really well with Quicksilver Draft. I think it works really well with the Star Drake. If there's ever a scenario where we really need to keep a certain hero alive, like if we have like a spell casting savant type situation where you have to keep your general alive, this is great on them. So we'll see what the rest of the rules look like. But overall, this looks pretty good.
I like it on Quicksilver Draft holders, like Lord Celestin on Dracoth.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that can actually be shot. It does not, get that 12-inch restriction. And in some odd cases, a Lord Terminus. I mean, Lord Terminus is, at the end of the day, a 6-wound model on a 3-up save. They could definitely try and kill it with shooting. I know I've shot a few off with Auric Hearthguard, for instance.
Yep.
So being able to be like, nope, I get back up and I still have my QST because it's the exact same unit. All right, that's good. I like it.
Yeah. The other use cases are not obvious. If you guys watching have thought of another combo besides those two, then just let us know and we'll talk. We'll read it in the chat and we'll talk about it. But otherwise, I'm gonna give this like a B tier, just tentatively, right? Like it's not S.
Yeah.
It's not A. It's like a B tier ability.
No, it's good. It's better than, in my opinion, better than Shock and Awe and Staunch.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. All right.
Like somebody actually gave thought into what Stormcast heroes want to be doing. Someone was like, okay, how does a QSD holder survive?
Maybe they did think about that. Yeah, I'd be impressed if they did.
Oh god. Speaking of thinking about things.
Well, let's do Intense Piety first. Because
it's bad.
A lot of thought went into this ability. A lot of why is it so restricted? Right? It's only usable in your hero phase. It has to pick a visible unit. It has to be within 18 in your hero phase. So like I guess you could translocate into range. It doesn't have to be a hero, which is nice. I guess you can do it on like a Storm Coven. But then on a 3-up, like you have to meet all these conditions. And then you roll a 3-up, and your reward for all that is to subtract 1 from casting enchanting until the start of the next turn. And if it now part of what makes it bad is that it's just -1. If it was -2, I would consider jumping through all these hoops to get the -2. Right?
Not even that. It should not be -1 to casting, because the thing is, you're only going to stop casting armies that are as bad as Stormcast and We're not a great caster army, okay? Like, not Arcanum is like our best caster. We're not a great casting army. This is not going to feel good when you go up against like Teclis or a Siege or a Nagash or an Archon or the Ostric Bone Reapers, the +1 to cast subtraction.
Or Stormcast with the new guaranteed cast enchant ability.
Yeah, it's like it's not going to do anything against those. And like I understand what they were going for, like, oh, you could pair Lord Veritant with this, and then you could be within 12, and you could subtract 2 from the casting rolls or chanting rolls. But the reality is the power casters just don't care, and anything that's within that short of a threat range will just die. I heard Warhammer Weekly, like Tom on Warhammer Weekly said something really cool. He was like, what I wish this would do is on a 3-up, it subtracts a power level from you.
Down to a minimum of 1 or just to 0?
No, 0.
Ooh.
0. It shuts down. So if he's within a priest, if you get that 3-up, you cannot chant anything for that turn.
That would be cool, yeah.
Yeah. And that would make that threat range of being within 18 worth it. Because like 18 is like, I don't know if you've like played with long strikes, or for those of you watching, 18 is pretty short. Every infantry in this game now moves like 5 or 7 with Field Sergeant. Cavalry all moves 10 or 12. You will be within charge range if you're like risking something that close. So no, I'm not a fan of this. The fact that it's like you could do everything. You could get the translocation. You could get within 18, and on a 3-up, you could still just fail that 3-up and not do anything.
If it was 30 inches, if it was usable in both players' turn, or if it was usable in both players' turns, or if it didn't have the dice roll, or if it was -2 instead of just -1. If one of these things was just slightly better, this would actually be usable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
One more thing I want to mention, like, why is -1 so bad? Well, the way prayers work now, like, before you're in range to use this, the enemy priest will already bank points, right? They're going to be banking ritual points, and then when it's their turn to pray, they're going to get their prayer off on a 2+ usually, no matter what. So -1 to chanting doesn't usually matter. It might matter if it's like going for like a big blizzard if you're playing like Beastclaw Raiders, but they have multiple Huskards that are going to be trying to chant it, and subtracting one from one of them isn't going to make a difference. So it's the best case scenario is rare that this will make a difference against prayers. And against casting, like you said, Murgonk, there's tons of like power casters that are just like unmodified 10. You can't stop it, right? There's the Cathalar too, or sorry, not Cathalar. Caligrave in Lumineth, which is just auto cast 8 with a spell, right? Stormcast are auto casting on a 7 now. So the -1 does literally nothing there. But in other situations, let's say you're just going up against another, Ideneth style army, or like not a good casting army, like Nighthaunt or Sylvaneth or something like that. The -1 has to actually make the difference in the spell failing or succeeding, which, like, on a 2d6 roll that happens only once a turn, that's a spike roll, right? Like, it usually goes, like, casting doesn't average out. It's not like making hit rolls, it's not like making attacks, it's not like making save rolls or runs or charges where you can just pour more dice into it. You can't just, like, line up 5 units and one of them will probably make a 9-inch charge, right? Like, on average. Casting's not like that, because each spell you can only attempt to cast a spell once per wizard usually, unless it's unlimited. So the number of times where that -1 makes a difference are very few and far between, because casting is usually like, when people make casts, it's usually like they like blow past it. I don't know if maybe that's just me, but I'm not usually making casts dead on the value I need to cast it on. It's usually like, if I need a 6, it's somehow like it's 8+ usually, right? It's either like I roll a 4 or I roll an 8. It's not typical that I roll exactly a 6. So -1 doesn't do anything in that scenario. Now, if it was -2 or -3, like, because you can stack this with the Veritant, you can stack this with the Everblaze Comet, you can make this better, but it's just not worth it, because at the end of all that, you still have to roll a 3+. So, like,
what I would have liked is, like, instead of necessarily punishing your opponents, it would make you better. Like, it's piety, right? It's not punish them, like punish the heretic. What I would have so either is one way is to either subtract power level, or go something like pick a visible friendly priest or wizard. It depends on who has it, right? And what you can do is the next prayer your opponent chants, if they're within unbind range, you can, instead of subtract, 2 ritual points, or
like a reaction. Yeah, I could see that. That'd be good.
Or you could, when you unbind your first spell this turn with this hero can unbind as if it were a wizard. It gets +2 to unbind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your devotion to Sigmar is so great that you can deny other magics in the area.
Yeah, really simple. This hero can unbind as if they were a wizard. When they unbind, add 1. Simple. Like, that would be a great heroic trait. But
yeah.
Anyway,
and the thing is, they were going for the Lord Exorcist, because the Lord Exorcist, it's going to Legends, but he has an ability where he picks an enemy priest within 30, and he subtracts D3. Within 18, I think. Subtracts D3 ritual points, and if they have no ritual points, it does D3 more wounds. So they could have turned it into something like that.
Could have been. Frankly, if it was just that ability, I'd like that more. It would be very situational, but it would be usable.
Yeah, this is, as far as I see it, I don't think people will take Intense Piety.
No,
it's like, yeah, even as a second pick, it's not that great.
This is like, I think it's actually as bad as Staunch Defender.
Yeah,
it's like a D tier.
Yeah,
not unusably bad. It's not F tier, but yeah. Okay, here's another good one. Hour of Glory. So you can just finest hour every turn. There's no more limit. And when you finest hour, you get +5 control. So there's been a lot of games I've played this edition where I don't have anything to use finest hour on, because I'm running like Javelin Paladors and shooting and a melee unit, and the melee unit already used finest hour once. So like, I'll have 4 turns of nothing, and then 1 turn of Firepower. Like sometimes I'll just like pick a hero and charge it in. Sometimes with +1 save. I don't know. I really like this because in that scenario, even with those lists, my one hero is basically just +5 control on my turn every turn. If nothing else, like that is a heroic trait that's actually worth considering.
Yeah, this is pretty damn great. I mean, the obvious pick that everyone saw in our Discord and everywhere else was Stardrake.
Of course.
Having a 10 control monster that's always essentially a 2-up on my turn. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Because I've seen 10 control in action, right? Bellicor,
yeah,
Archaon. There's a number
the big
of
pigs.
The what? Sorry.
The big pigs that Rob was running.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're 10 control.
Kragnos might be. I don't think the big pigs
Kragnos
are.
is.
Yeah.
Correct.
But like it's more useful than it seems to have that model be 10 control, right? Like ogres can play a really interesting tactical game because they can spam 10 control models, and it's like, okay, I'm dedicating 2 models to this objective, and that's 20 control on it, right? And that forces your opponent to do things. And against ogres, like, okay, we can do things. We can kill Stonehorns, we can kill Thundertusks. It's a lot harder to kill a Stardrake. Now, the 10 control's only on your turn, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to take that objective, and then I'm immediately going to lose it. Like, you can't hold objectives against this ability anymore, which is really, really cool. The +1 to wound doesn't really matter. +1 save is great. Being a 2+ save on your turn, every turn for the whole game, there's a lot of value in that. You can just tie stuff down for days, especially with a Night Vexillor. You can just heal off whatever damage that they're putting on you in the combat phase, and you're just eating models all day long. Like, I love this. This is our best heroic trait, I think.
Yeah. Quickly, Lewis said Intense Piety looks strong with Everblaze Comet. Lewis, like, that's a lot of setup because both things are deployed within 18 inches. So it's only something that can really happen unless you translocate turn 1. It only starts happening from turn 2 onwards. And then you have to imagine that Everblaze Comet, because of the way Endless Spells in combat works, you have to place it in such a way where they can't just fight it and kill it. So it's not going to be around on like their turn, most likely, if they position their army well. So that's the problem with setting that up. Plus, this thing is also a problem. Intense Piety is also problematic because you might just not roll that 3-up at all. So there's a lot of hoops here jumping through to put your wizard in, danger close, and then, or whatever hero in danger close, and then finally what you're getting out of it is something that might not even end up mattering because turns out their endless spell needed a 6 and they rolled an 8. So even with a -2, they got it. Like,
yeah. The Comet's also an 8+ to cast. That's not easy. Even in Stormcast with Krondys, that's still not a guarantee by any means. And I've seen people just redeploy into range of the Comet.
God, they nerfed the Comet.
Yes, they did.
Oh yeah. Hell,
I tried the Comet a lot after it was nerfed because I'm like, okay, it's still like, it's got to be good, right? If it's an 8 cast, it has to be a good spell. So I still tried to make it work. And people ended up actually just redeploying units into it during my turn and then fighting it, and then it just died before my turn was over.
Same.
It was they didn't even want to waste a banish on it. Like, it wasn't worth banishing. That's how bad it is. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate. I would like that combo to work, and I should also mention, it's possible they still errata stuff. This might not be, this is the new stuff, but there might still be errata balancing changes of some kind. It could be points, it could be, maybe the Everblaze Comet is a 6 again instead of an 8. That could happen. That's not outside the bounds of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else we wanted to mention here? Vexillor is a permanent minimum 11 control on your turn. Your opponent can't stop it. That seems good.
I think that's cute. Yeah, I would say the top 3 heroes that I can think of using this with are Stardrake, Vexillor, and believe it or not, Lord Vigilant on Grimstalker.
Okay, just to give him more utility.
Yeah, because it's one of the heroes that can get a file ward, 8 wounds, 3-up save. It actually has -2 and 2 damage attacks, 5 attacks at 3s and 3s, -2 and 2 damage, and it's the only mount that I know that's like, sorry, not the only mount, but like the mount also does like 3 attacks at 2 damage, so like the damage is like pretty okay, and it can give fight twice to like a ruination unit. But that's like my that's third in the list. I would say the top 2 are probably Night Vexillor and then Stardrake. Maybe the Drake Sword Templar could be.
I think we just call that the Star Drake, right? It's a Star Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
sure.
I was thinking maybe Knight Draconis because
Mm.
having a 10 control monster like that gives him some additional utility. Having a 2+ save monster on your turn, like he can pin stuff so that your Drakes can avoid counter charges, so that they can avoid covering fires. He can gain some additional utility that way. Really stretching it here. Like, I'm not saying this is going to be great or anything. I'm just thinking he could get good use out of it because he's so fast. And then the last one I would think about is the Terminos, because everybody forgets this, but the Terminos has a bonus control aura. So he himself is already 5 control. You can add 5 on top of that, and now he's 10. And it's kind of like giving him additional things to do after the Quicksilver Draft combo is done.
Mm. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not great. I feel like it's going to be on a Star Drake, and that list is going to go 5-0. And then they're going to nerf it to, you can use Finest Hour twice per game instead of once.
Yeah.
But it's great.
I don't think it'll be bad because Finest Hour is still only your turn. So
Yeah.
when the opponent wants to do their thing, they can still do their thing.
What I'm more
If
impressed
you can kill
about,
Star Drake on your turn now, you can still kill one. Like it doesn't change that.
Yeah. Because you're giving up the 3-up revive on the Star Drake to take this, and the 3-up revive, probably better. Depends on how you use the Star Drake, but I think the 3-up revive is better. Or Envoy. You're also giving up Envoy, which is very good on the Star Drake. An Envoy of the Heavens is usually really hard to use, but when the Star Drake is always in range of itself, it's not bad. So, giving up 2 really good ones to get this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about our artifacts. Do we want to talk about this one? I guess we could talk about why it's so bad. The Banner of Sigmar.
Yeah, people are like, okay, so we haven't seen what the missions look like. So I guess like in that sense, I guess I have to reserve judgment in some ways because this could end up being really strong. But I saw a lot of people like overreacting over it, like, oh my god, they can just shut off an objective and you can't, you're not going to score it, and this could just change the game. Is it possible? Yes. It would have to be something like late game when most things are dead and you're turning off sticky objectives while your sticky objectives are still on. But the reality is, like, most of the top armies in the game are already have some form of hypermobility or like are externally mobile in subtle ways. So like Skaven, for instance, they have an enemy hero phase move. They can redeploy. They have teleports.
They can revive
Iron Jaws
units
has
too.
Mighty Destroyer. Yeah, they can revive units too. Iron Jaws has Mighty Destroyers and a teleport. Stormcast obviously have teleports. FEC has revives. Soulblight Gravelords has revives, and like, so when you take all of these, like realistically, when you end up, it's once per battle. If this was something you could pick one objective each turn, if that hero could just go around be like, I make this non-sticky, I make this non-sticky, this would be way more playable. But as it stands, you turn off an objective, all they do is like on their turn they just run a unit onto it, or they redeploy something that was already in the vicinity onto it.
If it was usable in the enemy turn, this would be really good. But because it's usable on your turn, it's completely telegraphed. Your opponent knows where your units are in your hero phase. The only thing that can change that is translocation, right? And I don't know how often people would translocate into this ability, frankly. It also has to be within 18 of the objective, the 40 mil center, not the surrounding part of it. Like, some people might be confused and think, you're usually not in range of objectives on turn 1. Right?
Yeah.
Unless you deploy on the line, like, sure, but then if your opponent just deploys on the line too, right? Like, it gives your opponent a chance to... The counter to this is just moving your units. There's no dice roll involved. There's no resources spent except the opportunity cost of not moving that unit elsewhere. And when armies are running support heroes, like, any random wizard can just go back and take this. They can teleport onto it. They're like... I don't know. I see the use case for it, right? Like, I have to commit resources to take their land over here, but that means my objective is now free. It's like, I don't have enough units, I can't do this. But like, how often does that happen? You can very easily play around it.
It would be very useful if it wasn't once per. So there's 2 things if this could be very useful in. If this was just that hero picks an objective for that turn and turns it off, that would be useful. If this is going to be once per battle, what it should have been is they plant their banner once per game. All objectives on the board become non-sticky for the enemy.
Yeah.
So now they have to literally be standing on every circle possible if they want to score that end of their turns.
Yeah, because that would be a really cool, like, turn 4, turn 5 play where there's only a few
Yeah.
units left on the board, and it's like, okay, well, you lose control of all the objectives you're not currently standing on. You don't have enough units that you can just commit resources back there. But even if it was that good, it's competing against 3 of the best artifacts in the game now. Stormcast have the best artifacts in the game. It's crazy how good our artifacts are, and this is nowhere near good enough to make the cut.
Yeah, that's my main problem with it. Like that would be really good, and it would like it would. But the thing is, like, this is not in its current the way it's written. It's not competing with anything.
No,
in my opinion, that would actually make it like, okay, I could see taking this.
If this was a different army, like if this was a heroic trait, I'd consider it. Right? Like, it's not terrible as a heroic trait, but as an artifact, that's definitely another problem. So it's got issues just with itself and in a vacuum, but then it's also got issues as an opportunity cost. So if you guys think we're wrong, please let us know, because I'm seeing the scenarios where this could be useful, and then I'm thinking about how I would just play around it. And of course, with the Stormcast bias, it's like, well, between all the teleports and all the reserves and everything, like, this is no problem. Dealing with this is no problem for me. But other armies,
this is a very classic noob check. It's like if you're a newbie, you might get caught out with this because they tend to move all their models forward. Experienced players won't care. They'll always move their units in such a way where they're like a 3-inch redeploy from taking whatever objective they just
don't even have to redeploy. They just walk on their turn, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, experienced players will not care about this, and so like it's not really that much of a threat.
Yeah, I wonder if there's other armies that might struggle to do it, but I Gargants
maybe. Yeah, Gargants. That's the only thing I can think of.
Like, that's a
maybe
huge
the ogre one, the ogre monster truck one. They could, because they just like move forward as like the whole.
Oh, they have like 8 monsters. Like, they have enough to keep back. What I do think is cool is that this is a very interesting place to experiment with rules. Like, they have never done an effect like this before, I'm pretty sure. So this is a really cool thing to explore. It's not strong enough, but it's an interesting way. I would not have thought about this. Like, remove sticky control as an artifact. I would never have come up with that.
No, I love the design space they're exploring. I just wish it was implemented a little bit better. But we're always the sort of donkey for testing out new stuff, wacky stuff that isn't fully functional.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention about Hour of Glory. It's cool that we have abilities that reference other abilities now. We never really had that before. Like, there was never anything that buffed Blaze of Glory. I guess we did have like that Staunch Defender in 3rd edition. We had Holy Commands, but like the Holy Commands didn't reference other abilities. They were just like their own unique thing. This is one of the few times Stormcast actually have a reference to another ability, like synergy. How about that? Like, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about... I'm just going to say, it's the best artifact in the game. It might be the best enhancement, period, in the game. I'm so hyped for the Sigil of Morrda. It's crazy strong. It's give any hero in your army, any non-unique hero, Roar. Straight up Roar, right? But it's better than Roar, because the command point gets denied.
It's Hunters of the Heartland plus Roar.
Your opponent doesn't know if they can use commands or not. Like, the thing about Roar, what kept it as balanced as it was, like, it wasn't balanced, it was too strong. But what kept it somewhat in check was like, oh, it happens at the start of the combat phase, so I know if I can use commands or not. This is like, reactively, no, you're not using that command, and also your command point is spent. And also, it can be used on rampages. So Kragnos can't do his charge thing against the Star Drake. If you get in combat with Bellicor, you can just shut off his rampage entirely. He has to get a 1 or 2 and then a 4+ in order to use his rampage. God, what else? Gargants can't do the suplexing onto you. There's so many rampages that are actually really important that you can shut off with this. In addition to just having Roar.
Yeah, like, in addition to just having the Krondis Roar, where whatever you charge or charges you, you're like, no all-out attack, no all-out defense for you. And more importantly, you can also do this, like, power through. Exactly. If some cavalry is trying to charge into you, you're like, I'm not going to do anything. Cool. But once you try to power through, that's off.
Yeah. And it's
not stuck in high.
It's not once per game. It's not once per round. It's once per turn. You can do it on your turn to deny all-out defense. You can, like, charge in with a unit as a supporting unit. Like, okay, cool. Like, that's sick. And then defensively, your opponent charges into you. Yeah, no all-out attack for you. Sorry. Wow, this is good. This is like ridiculously powerful for Stormcast. Every army, I think, would just salivate for this. This is so good.
Yeah, I like this one.
this is like, if it wasn't for the fact that Quicksilver Draft defined how some units play, and Envoy, not Envoy, what is it called? It's my username now. Beacon of Azir. If Beacon of Azir wasn't as cracked as it is, this would be S tier and every list would use it. It's like, it's a testament to how
It's
good.
definitely A tier still.
It's like A
It's still
plus.
A+.
It's so close to S tier. It's like, I've never seen an enhancement this strong in the game before. Like, right? Like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy. I've been thinking, I mean, you can just stick it on any hero in your army and then put them behind your hammer. Your opponent charges into you. Oh, 3-up, roar, no rampage, you know? Thinking about which heroes we could use this offensively on, like Knight Azuros might suddenly become playable, because if they can charge in and disable commands.
No all-out attack.
Yeah, no all-out attack, and then my Prosecutor is on a 3-up. Like, it's a lot of 3-ups, so I don't love that. But you get enough of them, one of them's going to happen, right? Like, jeez. And then the Stardrake, of course. Like,
it's lovely.
Stardrake loves this, because he's such a big target. People are going to charge in, people are going to use all-out attack to try to kill him. You can also think of it on your turn, denying all-out defense with this. Like, good lord, what an amazing artifact.
It actually makes the Knight Draconis pretty interesting too. Because
Mhm.
like you said, if you give him the Finest Hour and then a 3-up roar, in addition to the Knight Draconis' own attacks, the fact that they buff up Stardrakes, Stormdrakes.
Yeah, it
makes him a very interesting hero with these artifacts.
Yeah, because I don't think you'd run Stardrake with Stormdrakes. Like, that's too expensive, right? But you might consider a Draconis. If his regiment was better. God, he really needs to bring something besides Extremis.
Maybe Extremis, and everything should just be able to bring Warrior. It's like the most, you know what I mean? It's like even the Ruination Brotherhood lets you take Warrior.
I think Vanguard should be able to bring limited Warrior, but not much. Like, it shouldn't be. It should be like how
Stormtrek Haldor probably shouldn't there, but like Warrior, like infantry is probably fine.
Like 0 to 1 Warrior. Yeah, but I agree otherwise. Extremis should definitely be able to bring Warrior, because Extremis and Warrior are like, you know, they're like this. They're best friends.
Yeah.
Like
this, son.
Have I glazed this enough? Like, does everyone understand how good this is? Am I overhyping it? I'm really worried that I'm overhyping it.
Nah, man, Roar's always been good. Like, and you get Roar that shuts out rampages, and it's once per target. Like, I was so afraid this is going to be once per battle. They have a very bad habit of doing that for good shit. Like, good artifacts that Stormcast have.
If it was once per battle and it was guaranteed, okay. But once per battle, dice roll abilities shouldn't exist. Also, command abilities with a dice roll, like the new Necromancer thing, that shouldn't exist either. No way.
It's probably going to get errata. They already errated the index version of it, so I'm not too worried.
Okay. All right. I didn't even notice how good this was. Like, all my hype when I saw this was Beacon of Azir. Because this perfectly fits into exactly how I play the game. One thing I hate more than anything is rolling a 1 on a 2+ dice roll. And this lets me just not do that. I now have once per game guaranteed translocate. And I couldn't be happier. This is like perfect for my playstyle, because I love whipping units forward, getting like some advantage, and then just teleporting them back as soon as my opponent's turn starts.
I like how they've actually unlocked 2 different playstyles of these artifacts, because we build 2 kinds of lists here. We build lists that are centered around like a big centerpiece, like a Stardrake, for instance, right? Or it could be very hero-centric, like a Knight Draconis, sort of. Or we build lists that are like, the heroes are just cheering things on. They're not really there to, you know, take center stage. It's your units that are the heroes, really.
Yep.
This fits perfectly into that second archetype.
Absolutely.
Because... So like we ran the Lord Arcanum, Knight Relictor, and Knight Zephyros list, or like you were running, I guess, Knight Relictor, Knight Arcanum, Lord Arcanum. This one would fit perfectly.
Perfectly. Slots right in. Of my 5 games, I think I rolled 1 translocate in the enemy turn. Like, I just kept rolling 1s on it every single time. And it was so frustrating. And like, Mirror Shield was doing nothing for me the whole tournament. Like, experienced players know not to bother wasting time shooting Stormcast hero, like support heroes. Like, shoot the dragons. You never waste any shooting damage on the support heroes. They are a waste of time. You just put the damage to the units that matters. Mirror Shield is like, it's reverse. It's like a trap almost, because it's like, oh, you can't shoot this guy, when in real, I would love it if you shot the Lord Arcanum on Grift because he's not as good as my Dracolines that he's supporting, right? Like, anyway, I would much rather take this artifact every single time. And not only, if it was just for prayers, I would take it every single time in that list. but it also has the
Yeah.
utility of having a guaranteed bridge cast, a guaranteed Aether Shock cast, a guaranteed Starfall cast. You could build lists with this, getting the guaranteed big Iridan bless off so that they can give Rend 2 to 2 different, or Rend 1 to 2 different units. You can use this to chant bless weapons guaranteed, right? Like that was one of the issues with bless
You know what I
weapons.
love about this? It doesn't. The priest or wizard does not have to be the one holding it.
Yes.
Like that's so good.
So you can give it to the
Like,
Knight Relictor and then just keep him holding
Yeah.
within 12 of the Knight Arcanum. It's
yeah, like
amazing.
that's what's amazing about it. Yeah.
Now you can't cast Purple Sun with it unless they change that to a
Okay.
7. And we'll
Okay.
see what the new cast values for manifestations are.
I think you can cast everything Stormcast related though, right? Because Comet now goes off on a 7.
Comet's an 8.
Oh.
We just talked about that.
I don't know why. I thought the Comet was 6, and
It
but I guess
used to
I'm
be.
thinking with the Knight Arcanum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I really like this. Counter chanting Starfall is actually pretty backbreaking.
Yeah.
People don't.
I
don't
am
know.
I am so worried about my opponents rolling at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on unbinds. I don't know how often I would risk it on counter casting Starfall in particular.
Yeah. I think I would mostly do translocation of this, or maybe Bless.
God, imagine if we still had the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger that we could translocate forward, get the Starfall off, and then teleport back. Man, that'd be sick.
Wait, we can do that?
Yeah, you can.
I didn't do that the whole tournament. Damn. Oh.
That's
Oh.
why you're 4-1 and not 5-0, baby.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. Let's talk about, because it doesn't specify hero. And when I noticed it didn't specify hero, because like this comes up all the time, Storm Coven can't use places of power because they're not the hero keyword. So when I didn't see hero on this, my mind immediately went to Storm Coven. Double check the casting value of Aether Shock. It is indeed a 7. So you can guarantee Aether Shock once per game. And
defensive strike first. Yeah,
defensive strike first can be hard to do because your opponent can unbind it. So it's not guaranteed in the opponent's turn. It's really hard to be wholly within 12 of a unit you want to give strike first to, and then be out of unbinding range, right? But offensively, you can guarantee this on your turn. Very easy to keep out of 30 inches on deployment of your opponent, right? You backboard them, whatever unit you want to buff up. Let's say it's 6 prosecutors, right? You give them fight first. Then you give them bless weapons, potentially from a Lord Relictor. Then you give them Iridan's +1 Rend. Then you give them, you shoot them through the portal, or Finest Hour, 5 up ward, shoot them through the portal, drop a second unit of prosecutors, drop Gardas, drop Lord Vigilant, and now you have +2 attack, +1 Rend, double tap, fight twice, immediately prosecutors.
Yeah, because the fight first, fight left cancel out, so
Yes.
you would fight first and fight normally.
And because the fight last only applies after you pick them the first time, they would fight first immediately, and then fight first, or not fight first, but they'd fight normal after that.
Fight normally, yeah.
So
you would get 2 activations in a row. Yeah.
That's a lot of points, that's a lot of setup, but we can do it. And that being able to do things is interesting. Because I've been talking about that double tap combo for a while. And this would work really well in a list that James built in particular that is trying to do exactly that with 2 units, because and maybe instead of the double tap, you just have, 1 unit of Prosecutor strike first, and then a second unit comes in and fights, because they both have the threat ranges to do
I don't even think you need bless. Like I think now that we're gonna lose most of our shooting, like castigators, I think prosecutors become a lot more interesting as like disposable missiles, basically.
Yeah, I've been thinking instead of using this for Aether Shock, what we can do is we can drop a Knight Relictor into play with this artifact. And then after we're done our turn of killing everything, our opponent's turn starts, we just teleport our prosecutors back. Opponent can't stop it, right? We throw away
a priest. And if they kill the Knight Relictor, if they charge and kill him, they've achieved their job. Like they've traded up. You've killed a 120-point hero, and now my prosecutors are ready for another charge.
Yep. So that's my theory, is that 120-point hero and a once per game artifact basically gives you 300 points of prosecutors.
Yeah.
Which seems like a trade up.
Yeah.
I can't stress how good
I'm very interested in
auto translocating
is. This is an amazing artifact. Yeah.
This is again just shy of S tier. Like if the sigil
hold this for late game. Wait, I can't hear you. Can you?
Yeah.
Is your audio breaking?
No, I'm still here. Hello?
Oh, okay. I guess my headphones gave out. All right.
Okay.
No, it's really good, and what I like. especially if you don't necessarily end up using it early game to guarantee you're translocating something out. Late game, this is backbreaking. Because if you need to really score some objective or tactic that relies upon you being at a certain board position, your opponent, you roll that 3 on a translocate which needs a 4, and you feel bad. But this is like, okay, no, I'm gonna guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a guaranteed with the portal, but doing it in the hero phase is a very big deal. Doing it in your opponent's turn is a very big deal. I'm really glad I just made that video about translocation, because everything I said in there was like, oh, remember, it's a dice roll, so treat it as a bonus. It's like, no, it's not a dice roll anymore. It's guaranteed.
So all this cool stuff. Zinch gets to do it every turn. Their casting is so strong, but it's like they have a teleport spell that they use in your turn that's insanely strong, and that's basically what this is.
Yeah, it's so close to S tier as an artifact. If Sigil wasn't as good as it is, like if Sigil was worse in any way, if it was a 4-up, if it was once per round, if it was once per game, this would easily be the best artifact. But we're so spoiled for how good our artifacts are now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, we just talked about this, but it's like, I really wish army composition changes and we get a Warlord battalion. I would take Sigil and this
all the time. All the time. Unique heroes just wouldn't exist for me anymore. I would not use unique heroes anymore. They'd be dead to me. Because like there's no value that I can get from Krondys that I would like. Beacon of Azir is better than Krondys, I think.
I mean, I could legit see a list where I take Krondys, a Knight Vexillor, and Krondys, Knight Vexillor, and
Relictor.
Knight Relictor, and then put this on the Knight Relictor, put the repeatable Finest Tower on the Knight Vexillor. That would be really cool, I think.
Yeah.
Or even like, or like if I wanted to, and if I got a second artifact, like let's assume Warlord is there, I take the disabling rampages on the Knight Vexillor too. It's like, cool, I'll disable a rampage and I'll disable a command, and I can choose another unit and disable all commands.
Yeah, just put the Relictor right in front of Krondys in the way of Kragnos' charge, and it's like, oh, sorry about that. You were trying to use a rampage? I don't think so. You're muted.
Try to use all-out attack? No. Try to use a rampage? No.
So good. Oh, it's so good. We're spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, this in a way, I'm glad, because it makes, even though we didn't get a battle formation, which is something I was really hoping for, especially for Warrior Chamber, because my god, is Thunderhead Host ass.
No, but you take that back. We're gonna have an argument about Thunderhead Host right here and now. Okay, I am officially changing the ranking of Thunderhead Host from D in our latest tier list. It's probably A tier. It's honestly probably A tier, like A minus.
Why?
Assuming Sacrosanct is gone, right?
Sure.
Vanguard Wing is right, like whatever. It's fine. It's like if you have nothing else, Vanguard Wing is fine. Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels, if you're not using Ruination units, is useless. If you are, it's pretty good. But I think to make Sentinels good, you need at least 6 Prosecutors and 6 Reclusians. You need both of those units in your list to make it good, right? If you have just 6 Prosecutors, you don't need Sentinels, right? So it really comes down to if you have 6 Reclusians in your list. And usually 6 Reclusians means you're going to bring the Prosecutors along anyway. You're not going to bring just Terminos and 1 Ruination unit. So let's say you're not running Sentinels because you don't want to run Reclusians. Let's say you want to use Quest or Soulsworn because they're like the best unit ever. Like they're so good. It's stupid how efficient they are. Being able to just, even without the Quicksilver draft, being able to fight with a Lord Celestant, pull Questers into combat, give them +1 to wound. If you have just anything nearby, Castigators, Long Strikes, Prosecutors, you just have one of these units nearby, in the enemy turn, you're now fighting on 2s and 2s while still having all-out defense active.
Sure.
It's actually way better than it seems. Thunderhead Host is good. It's because they've reduced the points on Annihilators and Questers and Grand Hammers, it's now actually a good battle formation. It's not the time or place that I wanted to have this conversation, but I feel like people are blaspheming Thunderhead Host, and I've just like had an epiphany about it, and I want to share that. It is good.
But what I like is like this opened up new avenues to play for. It like, okay, not opened it up. It helped us define those avenues to play that we already have in a better way. It allows us, like, we just talked about building lists that are a monster-centric thing, like based around the centerpiece, or like, a base very central around your hero, or where heroes aren't the main guys, it's your other units that are the heroes. And this sort of defines those two archetypes and allows us to further express our way into those archetypes. But it didn't really unlock anything new, I would say.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That ultimately, this is really powerful stuff. Like, this is really, really good. This will help offset losing Sacrosanct units for sure. But it's not doing anything in terms of creating more interesting options for us. Like, Skaven have all this cool new stuff that they couldn't do before. Is it good or bad? I don't know. I honestly don't know if it's good or bad. It seems like some of it is pretty bad. Like, I don't think people are going to spam Greater Demons and then run that. That doesn't seem like a very good army. But it's a fun army, and you can play it. And that's kind of what I was hoping for with Stormcast, was we have a super deep bench of units, and some of them are just not usable. Like, just bad, you know? And none of these do anything to change that, right? Like, Annihilators are exactly as good as they were before. Vanquishers are as bad as they were before. Liberators, bad. Vindictors, bad. Vigilors, still just there for support. They're not a viable shooting hammer. You know, like, I was hoping for something that would shift up how we use units, and nothing in here has done that. We're doing the same thing we've done, we're just better at it. More reliable.
Sure.
Yeah. Which is good, like, in terms of external balance, we're going to be a strong army, and we're already a strong army, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I would be very interested in getting some more internal balance stuff. Like, I was really hoping we would get something to make infantry usable. Some kind of, maybe like Lord Imperatant change where he can now do the deep strike charging again. I don't know. Maybe I set my expectations too high.
Yeah, they don't seem to want us to do that at all. So
yeah, maybe not that in particular. Like, just some way to deliver infantry, right? That would have been nice.
Sure.
Hopefully there's a Warlord battalion and we get to take both of these busted artifacts. Or like Beacon with Quicksilver Draft. Oh my god, that'd be so good. Oh man, that would be so good. I would love it. Alright, you want to talk about Iridan?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so here we go. Bam. Look at this.
Alright.
So you'll have to open it up on your end, unfortunately.
No, that's fine. I have it up.
Okay, fantastic. So
cool. So
quick.
This was F tier. Everybody knows this, right?
It was D. Iridan, because they could use any Stormcast, if they got cheap enough.
Right. Last battle.
Yes. Yeah. At release, I think Iridan was 340 points at release. So they straight up improved it across the board. Everything is almost strictly better. And they dropped the initial the original point cost by 20. So, yeah.
So, Iridan was really bad. We talked multiple times about this. They did nothing for their chamber. The rules did not synergize with the Lord. They were the first Lord Terminos, and they did less damage than a Lord Terminos on average. They were built like this fast flanker. Didn't really work. 12 wounds on a 3-up save is not a fast flanker job. Very fragile. The Prayer of the Last Witness was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. Like, healing D3 after you fight, or a ward 6-up after you fight, only for your turn on a 4-up is like just the worst writing ever. Just complete glow up. Like, I've never seen a glow up like this. I think the Gracier is probably like a close second. We've only seen 2 Scourge of Ghyran spoilers. And this is like now actually a fantastic unit. I'm not going to say it like completely changes how our army plays as a whole. It unlocks an Iridan Ruination build, and it makes the AOR actually, in my opinion, slightly more playable, assuming you can use her. The jury's still out on that, whether or not you can.
You absolutely can. That part is clear. You can use Iridan in the Army of Renown. What's not clear is if you can use the new faction rules in the Armies of Renown. That's unclear.
So their wheel remained the same. The only thing that changed is they have a native 6-up ward. Not too much, but it's cute. I mean, they still compete with the Ruination 5-up ward with their units. They got the exact buffs we asked for. We were like, why is this D3 damage for being the biggest Lord Terminos axe for the first Lord Terminos? And now it's 3.
Yeah, look at this model.
Yeah.
The old rules it's like they designed a priest on a bird. Like, that's what they were told. And the designer, the rules writer was like, okay, priest on a bird, cool. So, like most priests, it's going to be 4 attacks, 3s, rend 1, d3 damage. Bird, cool, 6 attacks, 4s, 2s, rend 2, 2 damage, great. It's a bird, so cool, it can retreat. Let's give it dark flight. It's a priest, so it's probably going to be support. So let's give it like a healing ward thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
And now, like, this new Warscroll makes them the leader of the Ruination Chamber. This feels like someone who leads the Ruination Chamber.
Yeah.
All Ruination Chamber holy within 12 reroll resistance rolls. Amazing. Straight up amazing. You run this with prosecutors, your opponent is never going to covering fire into you.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
not going to
never
take
going
the
to
risk.
wait.
No.
Yeah, no. You're telling me I have a reroll of 4 up and you use the CP up for nothing? Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, and then
It's a waste of time.
between this and shutting off commands with the Sigil of Morrda, like we're playing a good control game. Like, our opponents are just not going to do stuff anymore.
Yeah. Then we have Guardian of the Final Threshold. This is not the typical Ruination Chamber resistance ability, and it took me like 3 hours once this scroll came out to realize that. So you can use this in addition to a unit of, say, Reclusians or a unit of Prosecutors. If you take this in the Ruination Brotherhood, you can use Corvin Lord, this, and the resistance ability to have 3 resistance rolls a turn, once per battle.
And they can all be re-rolled.
Yes, they can all be rerolled. And the Corbin Lord or whatever is once per battle, but still, that's amazing. Like, just being able to say nope, nope, nope. It can be backbreaking on a very crucial turn.
Mm-hmm.
Demands of the Witness is way better than Prayers of the Last Witness. This feels way more like the Mad Max. They get a can of silver spray out, spray their teeth, and go witness me. You increase their rend, and on a 3-up. I think most of our prayers move to 4s.
Yes.
Didn't they?
Yep.
4 or more.
Yep.
So to have a 3-up prayer is amazing. That means if you're standing next to a place of power, this is a 2-up. And on a 7-up, which means if you're standing next to a place of power and you happen to roll a 6, you get to pick another unit. So you can pick like a unit of Reclusians, you can pick yourself, you can pick a unit of Prosecutors. I mean, great prayer. Like, now guaranteed, Reclusians probably have the lowest ceiling with this because they already have crit mortal, so it's not that great on them. But since we're going to lose special assignment on Prosecutors, this is amazing.
This is how we get special assignment back.
Yes, except it's way better because it's not against like a certain target. It can be anything. It's just you're just increasing the rend on your melee weapons.
I would say it's worse because it requires a dice roll to activate now, right? Special assignment was just guaranteed.
Sure.
Yeah, but
I'll take it. I'll take it in the sense.
It's fine.
Special assignment is gone, but I'll take just +1 rend base instead of having to engineer it against cavalry or infantry or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we switched out Dark Flight for instead of an end of turn rampage for a combat phase rampage. They basically became Beltanos. On a 3-up, they get to pick a unit that's in combat with them and reposition them around within an inch of them. And if they got charged by that unit, then that unit also subtracts 1 from hit rolls. For those of you who don't know, there's actually a really good ability. I've played against Beltanos, and this thing annoys like the crap out of people. It lets them get into pockets that they couldn't previously. You could charge Iridan into something, sort of translocate her around the screen, and then hit something behind their lines. Yep, and then pile in. Defensively, also it has great value because what's often happened is you can get charged by like an infantry unit or a cavalry unit or a monster and a cavalry unit. In the combat phase, before any fights, you can reposition yourself, and since it's within an inch, so you can be 0.99 inches on the other side of a huge base. And now one of the units that charge into you cannot pile into you.
Yep.
They're just too far away.
And let's say you're in a situation where you charge like, I don't know, another 12 health unit or something, and then you use the teleport, and then you can be in combat with a different unit, kill the unit that you charged, and then power through the other unit. It's the stuff you can do with this teleport. It's so good. And
the thing is, like, this is something players will always have to play around, so they'll be very careful about charging Iridan because they don't want to be at the receiving end of this.
Yeah. So Iridan went from a buff Healy priest on a monster that should have been around 220, 230 points, right? It reminded me of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Manticore. That's pretty much what Iridan used to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, not great. And now Iridan is a slippery Ruination General that increases the power, both defensive and offensive, of Ruination Chamber units near them. Which is exactly what the founder of the Ruination Chamber should be doing.
Yes.
So, 10 out of 10
flavor. And we didn't mention max 30 damage, -2 rend base on the chart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's comparable. It's all Ren 2 as well. Sometimes Ren 3 if you get the prayer off.
Yeah.
Because if you have to pick a second target, yeah,
Might as well be.
might as well. Yeah. It's comparable. So okay, in terms of flavor, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
In terms of power, it's okay. It's playable. It's good. It's like a B tier unit.
Yes.
Right? 320 points, brings any Stormcast, 12-inch flying move, 30 max damage. It's starting to sound a lot like Celestin Prime, right?
Yes.
So these two units are going to be compared. They fill similar roles. If you're bringing Ruination Chamber units, this is also a priest, so you're filling your priest quota because every list will want a priest. Because even though Iridan is unique, you can still use the Beacon of Azir from another nearby hero on Iridan and then get this 7-up prayer off. So you could potentially just immediately right off the bat have rend on 2 different units, or you can get blessed weapons guaranteed, or you can translocate. Like, just because they're unique doesn't mean they can't use the Beacon. Rerollable resistance rolls are gross. Like, some armies are really going to hate this. Others are just not going to care. They're just like going to hit you. Like, who cares? They're going to move and hit you like Ironjaws. That's what they do. They move and hit. Because interestingly, Ruination Chamber doesn't work on Kragnos' Rampage, because Kragnos' Rampage doesn't pick a target, and you have to be picked as a target specifically. Kragnos just does it to every unit nearby. So
yeah,
he picks an effect, and there's no targeting involved. There's no declare step, so can't use a reaction if there's no declare step. So this is really good against some armies, and then really, really just useless against others. It feels like the -1 damage effect, right? It's like it's either really good or really just nothing. The damage is fine. The health is a little low, but given how slippery they are, I think it's okay. It doesn't need to be a tanky model when it's a slippery, like, go around the flanks and get into nooks and crannies kind of model, right?
I wish Aventus was like this. I'll say that. I never got to play.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I think the rend thing is interesting. So
the thing is, I will say that there's been a lot of hype around this, and like there's some people going, "Oh, it's overpowered," as people generally react to Stormcast getting nice things. It's not, because this is not on the same level as like a Krondys or a Karazai or like a War Drive. Those things are very like plug and play. You can just plug them in a lot of lists, and they are the list in a lot of sense. This, if you're taking Iridan, you have to take at least one other Ruination Chamber to make that prayer worth it.
Yep.
And that passive aura worth it.
And that unit is usually 6 prosecutors. Like,
yes,
6 Reclusians are not the unit you bring.
I mean, sure, but I'm saying like you have to invest in some, at least 2, one other Ruination, maybe a second one. And if you're doing that, you're already restricting yourself to the Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels battle formation.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you're already building, and you're like, there's a certain number of points, let's say 600 points or so of your list that's already pre-decided when you take this model.
Yes.
And so in that sense, you will find out, this is not something that's readily apparent, but when you build lists with Iridan, you will notice that you are lacking in some areas. It's not as simple as like taking a Karazai, putting in 6 Paladors, 6 Raptors. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Worth noting, since you mentioned Karazai, Iridan actually has higher max damage than a full health Karazai. Obviously, you know, the accuracy is lower, right? Iridan's on 3s, 3s, 4s, 2s, whereas everything on Karazai is usually 2s, 2s because you have Vigilors. But just the max damage is there, and it is all Rend 2 as well. Karazai doesn't give a Rend buff, which is like, Rend 2 prosecutors are legit. They are legit good.
Yeah.
It's really tough to get a Rend buff and bless weapons on them, because that means you bring 2 priests in a list, which I don't think is.
You can, but
Stormcast. Maybe. I actually think it might be viable with Iridan to run double priest. It's not something I'd usually consider, but because there's 2 different buffs that you want from 2 different priests, it might actually be viable. And Knight Relictor is just such a powerhouse that, like, it almost feels like the priest is a bonus. Like, the reducing wards is really why you bring him. So I could definitely see a list with Iridan.
You need something for the Beacon of Azir.
Yeah, Iridan, Knight Arcanum, Beacon on a Knight Relictor, and that's like a solid core of a list that can bring Vanguard Paladors, it can bring Long Strikes, it can bring Prosecutors, it can spam as many questers as you can fit in there after all those points. It starts to look a little tight, though. I think Iridan is fine, like a B+. Like, I don't think it's A tier. I don't think it's that good because it's still just 12 health on a 3-up save, ultimately.
I'd say A minus. I think. So I know, like, here's the thing. I know what kind of lists you like to play,
Yes.
so I can see where that B plus is coming from. There are, like, I think lists that lean slightly more heavily into Ruination Chamber, and I think they're at least an A minus, because I'm not saying they're necessarily 5.0 material completely, but it's like they will present a hard stat check to a lot of armies that other armies will not be able to handle very well.
I want to see what the lists look like, right? Because typically when it's kind of a mixed Warscroll. It's one part defensive utility, which is situational defensive utility. It's not always a useful thing to do. And usually the prosecutors that you're going to be launching through the portal are not going to be near this. So, yeah. Like
they could be.
They could be, right? It's possible, but it's not, like, guaranteed, is what I'm saying. It's not like you just assume that your prosecutors just re-roll the resistance roll now. Reclusians probably are going to re-roll the resistance roll. Like, Reclusians are slow, they're going to move up together, right? Or they're going to drop in somewhere that Iridan can fly to. So the defensive utility is there. There's offensive utility. There's movement utility. There's damage. And it's all on kind of like a fragile frame, right? And none of it is so good that it's, like, worth the points. And because each part of it is situational, requires specific units at specific times, it might be a situation where it's like the sum of all of its parts isn't worth it. Like, not that it's not worth it, like, it's good, but it's like, it's not like S tier or A tier good, is what I'm saying. Like, it can be awkward to get max value out of this Warscroll all the time. Because, like, you know, in a vacuum, it looks great. You put it on a real battlefield, it's like long strikes, dead. Like, it's just gone. Turn 1, this is gone. Every time. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
There's some, I mean, you have to be careful, yes, and very vulnerable to long strikes. 12 wounds 3-up state is not a survivable profile.
No.
And it has a bit of what I like call the Indrasta problem. Remember last edition? Indrasta was like this support piece that also wants to go out and kill.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Is once the cost is right, like, the very specific combination can work. 320 might be the cost. I'm not suggesting Iridan needs to get cheaper.
I think it can't be more than this. I think if it's more than this, we encounter the Indrasta problem. We're like, okay, this thing has to stay back in order to provide most of its benefit. But if we commit it too early, we lose the benefit, which we need to keep around for our Ruination guys. So I do think 320 is, like, basically 3rd edition Indrasta. Like, I'm not going to argue for it to be lower right now because we haven't seen what it plays like. But I think it's, like, a good point value to start at.
If I could take the prayer and the priest out of this Warscroll and make it 100 points, I'd play that unit. If I could take the combat profile, the stat block, and the rampage and put that on, like, 180 point unit, I'd play that unit. The problem is combining them together and making it 320.
I think it's worth a shot. Like I said, it's not an S tier unit. It is not, you know, evocators or castigators. Sorry, Draculines and castigators. But definitely, in my opinion, A minus.
Yeah.
And also, I think it makes Ruination Brotherhood way more playable, which is what I.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens there. I thought about running Ruination Brotherhood back when Judicators were legal, but as of June 1st, that's not the case. So it feels like, we're losing a core shooting unit, but we're gaining a better Iridan, which was a very painful tax. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't want to paint more Reclusians. They take way too long.
Sure.
Yeah, like, the line between B plus A minus is really blurred. I think we're basically in the same ballpark here of how good this model is. Like, it's not overpowered. It's not, like, ridiculously good. It's a well-designed Warscroll, and you can build an army around it, and you can feel good about it.
Yeah, it's like if you were already building Ruination armies, you have a reason to take a Ruination leader. Whereas previously, you were probably only taking, like, a Lord Terminus or, like, a big dragon.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that they didn't go higher than 320. Because, like, if this was indexed...
They're smarter about points. They didn't have the gut reaction of this should be 360.
Because compare what Iridan is now, and that's apparently 290. For 30 points, you get this much better Warscroll.
Oh yeah, that 291 is dead. 291 is completely dead.
It shouldn't be 290. It should be 240.
Yeah, 200, 220.
Yeah, way cheaper. Well, yeah, we'll see. I want to see what these lists look like, because I have a suspicion that we're thinking about all these units we want to put together, and I feel like those lists might end up being too lean. And I think what's going to have to give it ultimately is the Vanguard Paladors. I think they get cut from the Iridan list, because you want to get value from the Prosecutors, which are fast. Yeah. You want the shooting still. You want the meat still. You want the support heroes. I think the Paladors get cut, and at that point, it's like, is a list without Paladors comparable to a list with Paladors in Stormcast? And I don't know the answer to that question yet. I suspect it's no. I think every Palador list is better than every list without them in the new season.
I mean, it can depend. I mean, the also you have to understand, like, we're thinking of what happens if we fight Paladors. But the reality is, maybe 12 Prosecutors might be better than just having a single group of 6 Paladors.
Well, oof. Man, I do not like 2x6. It just, every time I run it, it feels like a mistake. They're so fragile, and throwing another 12 health for 300 points in there with Iridan.
Take Reclusians. Take 6 Reclusians, 6 Prosecutors.
Yeah, I'd do that. I would do that. There's no good second target. Like, Reclusians really don't get a lot from extra rend, unfortunately. It's nice, but it's really not that much on average.
It's like, Dylan. Remember Dylan? Yeah, he currently runs, he doesn't run Praetors with Iridan, and he's extremely happy about this, by the way, but he runs Reclusians and Bodyguard with Iridan.
Okay.
And it creates a really powerful block in Ruination Brotherhood, because it's like, if you charge, now he has double ignore, rerolls on those ignores, so he can stop most things, a 5-up ward, a -1 attack, and he has, he returns models. So if you kill like 2 or 3 Reclusians, no, at the end of every turn, he'll probably fight and keep bringing one back.
Yeah.
I think that's not bad. Like, I think it's not like S tier again, but I think it's playable. I think it's strong. I think I would try a list with, even if it's not Ruination Brotherhood, in just like Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels, I would try 6 Reclusians, 6 Prosecutors, and go from there. And Night Arcane and Night Relictor, use the Translocation combo.
There's so many cool heroes for Ruination to use, and you can never make a list that has more than 1 or 2 at most.
Yeah.
Like, will the Iridan list run a Terminos as well? I don't know. That's starting to get real light on other stuff.
Yeah.
Because Terminos means Quicksilver Drive, right?
You don't always have to run Terminos with Reclusians.
No, but it's really good.
It's really good, but like Reclusians are also one of those things that are like weirdly tough.
I think what would have made this A tier, I think I would if it was a 5-up board instead of a 6-up, so that you wouldn't have to dedicate Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels into this ever. I would love that. That would be an A tier unit for me.
Sure.
But that 6-up board sticks out like a sore thumb. Is it the only 6-up ward in our army? I don't think we actually have any native wards except this.
No.
That's crazy. So weird. Every other army has wards for days.
I don't know if Tornus has a 6-up, but I could be wrong.
I think Gardas has a 5. Maybe? There's a few dudes that have 5s. I don't think there's a 6. Is a 5.
No, there's no 6-up.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
I think Gardas is the only one. I think and obviously Celestian Prime with a 5-up and Drusta with a 5-up.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this Warscroll is the Rampage. Like, that's so good. I love positioning based stuff. The Rampage, that's the best part of this for me. Everything else is icing on the cake. So for me, it's like, do I want to pay 620 points for Rend 2 Prosecutors and a hero that brings anything? It is also a priest and also has this sick Rampage. I think the answer is probably yes.
Weirdly enough, you know how the Lord Vigilant is an assassin, like on Morgriff?
Yeah.
This is a better assassin. Like, I could literally charge screens or charge something that's like on this side, end up on that side of the whole infantry line block, kill a hero, power through.
Yeah, just roll a 3+, easy.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but it's crazy. Like, it's good.
It is very good. Yeah. I like it. I'm kind of disappointed this is the updated Warscroll. I kind of wish they just released this separately. Like, don't use the Iridan Warscroll anymore. Here's a new one, and then here's your Scourge of Ghyran stuff. Like, it kind of feels like a waste that this is our seasonal thing. Because there's no way, no way at all this is going away. They're gonna keep this around.
They have to.
They have to. Everybody loves this. I'm the most critical person that I've heard talk about this Warscroll, and I'm saying it's like a B plus A minus, right? Like that's that's the harshest criticism it's gotten.
It has to be a playtest for permanent changes. Like there was a time where like we did not have complete Warscroll rewrites like this, but
Orgonk,
40K.
Are you suggesting there's going to be another Stormcast Battle Tome?
I don't think there's going to be a battle tome. There might be a supplement.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Remember the Ironjaw supplement?
Yeah,
like that.
Well, that was for new models. Unless we get like a Vanguard Chamber release mid edition, I don't think we're getting that. But I mean, maybe.
Even if all it would take is a battle scroll that says have these supplements. These are not your war scrolls for this. Or just keep it around. Just be like, you could use this, or you could use the original one.
They have done that before. They've added new war scrolls to battle scrolls before. Remember the first one in 3rd edition? They updated Archaon, Nagash, and Kragnos.
Yes.
Yeah, that could happen again. It could just be like, here, new war scrolls, replace the ones in there, and that's what Iridan should have been. This shouldn't be a seasonal rule.
Yeah.
Great model too. This is moving up my paint queue. I'm excited to use this.
Yeah. I have reason to. I mean, I bought one because it was really cheap a while ago, but someone was selling it on the
perfect
market. But
you cashed in.
All right. Yeah. I told you it's an ETF, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Overall, I'm very excited about the Stormcast changes as like a tournament player. For casual play, Iridan is a fun new war scroll that people can use. The rest of the stuff, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this stuff outside of like tournament level play. For like, this is beautiful. Like, great enhancements. Like, in every edition of the game, Stormcast have had trash tier enhancements. These are finally amazing. I love them.
Yeah.
Very glad it was worth the wait, I want to say, even. All those years of suffering. But how... what did casual players get out of this? Or narrative-focused players? Just power.
I mean, narrative people love the idea of Illumination Brotherhood, so I think Iridan being good finally lets them run.
Yeah.
I saw someone once. I mean, I don't think it's a wise idea to run like 3 or 4 mission units because they're all competing for that 5 award. People love doing stuff like that. There's people in my local meta loves doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
and these artifacts are like fun. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like plus once per battle your opponent's control score is 0. Like, that's not, nobody cares about that. People want to do fun things on the board. All this except for maybe intense piety is like pretty fun. Like, it's cool to have your big dragon just be able to get up, you know.
Yeah, that is cool. I think casual players are gonna love that for sure.
Yeah, casual players don't really like Mirror Shield. Like, they like stuff that does things on the board, not just something that's like a passive, like, okay, who cares, you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's wrap things up. Based on what I've seen so far, Scourge of Ghyran is shaping up to be a pretty fun event. I remember in December or whatever, they did Grotmas, and 40k got all those cool detachments, and everyone was like, what, could AOS get something cool? And we got like regiments that I've seen one person use. Rob, I see you using the Nurgle one. That's it. I've never seen anyone use any of the others.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't update the Lord Vigilant on Morgriff? Like, we only got 1 War Scroll compared to like 2 for Skaven, right? I feel like that could have been a very like shoo-in update.
Are you ready for the reason? It's a stupid reason. You're gonna like facepalm. Because they limit these to 2 pages, so we get either 1 or 2 War Scrolls. It depends on how many fit on the page.
Ah. Oh, my
That is the reason.
Wow.
We could have. I mean, we have the deepest bench. If any army is gonna get multiple War Scrolls, it should be Stormcast. But because Iridan's War Scroll is a whole page, we only get 1.
Maybe they just couldn't think of what that unit's supposed to do. Like, it's not as clear as like Iridan is.
I would have. Somebody on the Discord mentioned this. Make Vigilor like an alternate Vigilor that instead of giving +1 hit, they have real damage, like volume fire, like 3 or 4 shots apiece instead of 2 shots apiece. That would have been a sick War Scroll for us to get. Like, that changes a lot in our list building. It changes how we approach battle. We no longer get the +1 hit, but instead we get volume shooting. Like, yes, that would have been a fantastic War Scroll to get. But unfortunately, Iridan is too big. War Scroll is just taking up too much space on a PDF, and that's the reason we can't get anything else. I told you you'd facepalm.
Okay.
Not a good reason. But we'll see. There's a lot more to discover with the season. We have no idea what the battle plans look like. We don't know what battle tactics look like. I am very excited about this summer. This is going to be a great year for Warhammer.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and check out our sponsor, Mindtaker Minis. They host. They give us the prize support that we need for our painting contests. If you are on the Discord server, you can check out our painting warrior chambers. Any warrior chamber unit you want. We're trying to make them a little more open-ended instead of just a specific model. So if you have Stormstrike Paladors or Liberators or Lord Relictor, any warrior chamber unit is a valid pick. Post your pictures in the Discord server and have a chance to win some coupon codes from Mindtaker Minis. What else did I say? Like and subscribe. The stuff that Jack usually says when he's on here. Hopefully he gets back on here soon. What else? I think that's it. Covered all the bases, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Let us know what you think about the new Stormcast stuff down in the comments. I will be reading the comments every day because I'm very excited about this event. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.